We found All Saints in 2010, so we've been here about 13 years. I think what initially drew us is we had been at a PCA church in the Washington, D.C. area where we lived for the first 10, 15 years of our marriage, and we had an incredibly rich fellowship and community at that church. Just very in-depth preaching, in-depth community that we had there. It was a tough one to leave, so we knew the bar was pretty high when we moved to Austin and visited a handful of churches, and it didn't take long before it became pretty clear that All Saints was what we were looking for. There was something just inherently rich in kind of the community that had started All Saints and the families that were there and just the energy of all the young families at the time. We had only one young child with another one on the way, and we thought, boy, this is the community we're looking for.
That's the number one thing we looked for when we moved to Austin. We were at McLean Pres in Northern Virginia, and we had so many good friendships through that church. We went on ski trips, we traveled. This is dual to no kids. So that kind of ruined things when we had our first one.
Yeah, party was over.
We wanted to recreate that even with other families who have, one to no kids even. So we had some expectations when we moved to Austin. We went to Redeemer actually a couple of times. It's a great church. They had a building. And then we went to the gymnastiary. Actually, Todd Stewman, who lived right on the street.
Unbelievable. Todd
Stewman, he was at Campus Crusade at OU when I was there. And the first person when we walked to the gymnastiary was Todd Stewman. And it had been 15 years since I'd seen him. I was like, well, that's a pretty good sign. That's a good one. So, got to All Saints, and the demographics were great. A lot of people in the same boat, and I felt like we could recreate what we had at McLean Pres up in Northern Virginia. And it's interesting. We have 3 kids. They're very plugged into various things. We live in a very family-friendly neighborhood. I have a job where I work with people that surround me, but I don't hang out with those folks nearly to the extent that I do with at my church, the church body. And that's what's so important, because we have great neighbors, some great neighbors. We've got great friends from baseball to soccer to basketball, but none of them hold a candle to the relationships we have built at All Saints.